What's up everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and today we're going to be running over some details for patch 9.22, which is releasing tomorrow as I'm recording this. Well, as you can see down here. So, yeah, this patch did not waste any time in coming to the live server because, well, like, how long was it in testing? Maybe 2 weeks? It took no time whatsoever, it just flew past. So yeah, just going to go over the primary changes to this patch. For this patch. So the main things to take note of are the Object 430. The old one that had been a tier 10 for years at this point is being moved from tier 10 to tier 9, and the new tier 10 coming after the old Object 430 will be the Object 430U, as you can see right here. As for the Object 430 version 2, which was always a tier 9, that thing doesn't currently have a tier 10. However, that tier 10 will come at some point in the near future from what I've read. So yeah, as you can see here. So that pretty much summarizes the changes in regards to the medium tanks. So as for the heavies, we now have a new, well, I would say a mini branch of heavy tanks for the Russians, extending from the IS up towards the up to the ISM, to the Object 705, to the Object 705A, and the defining characteristic of the 705A is monstrous armor and its beefy gun. Like, it is a 152mm gun, 650 alpha, and from what I can remember, pretty solid pen. But I'm going to be looking at the tank itself in a couple of minutes, so I will get back to that. So I haven't gone past anything? I have not. Okay, cool. So next thing is the updated tank destroyers for, well, the non-turret, or well, not non-turret, the rear-turreted line of the Russian tank destroyers. So, for a long time, this line kind of didn't really have a theme. It was kind of like rear-turreted, then it had a front-turreted tank for some reason, the SU-122-54. Then it went back to a rear-turreted vehicle, or rear-mounted gun vehicle at the end. So it seemed kind of inconsistent in regards to like the way the game actually like showed you this line, because you have to adapt to so many different playstyles. So they've decided to make this line essentially the assault gun line, which is an interesting choice, especially considering the SU-101, its armor is still absolute garbage, and it has like 3 guns which are worthless, which you have to grind through for that vehicle. Like, I'll just show you here now. It has a ton of different guns which are just absolutely worthless and you would never want to use. I mean, look how many guns it has. This is a gun unique to this tank, this is a gun unique to this tank, and this is a gun unique to this tank. Like, all of these guns are completely unique to this tank, and this is just a stock gun for the 263 now. So, it just seems like, get rid of one of these goddamn guns. Come on, make this a stock gun, get rid of this, or something. Like, it just seems pointlessly, needlessly grindy. I'm not really sure what to say about that thing, but I am intrigued by the higher tiered vehicles. However, I have had enough of shitty tier 8 stock rounds to do me a while. MX65T. So yeah, matchmaking improvements. So to summarize this as quickly as possible, you're more likely, like if you play a standard battle in one game, the next game you play has a much higher chance of being assault, encounter, or ground battle. If you played ground battle last game, you have a much higher chance of encounter, assault, or standard. So, yeah, that pretty much summarizes that. If it takes more than 50 seconds, you'll be put into the first game that's available. So, yeah, simple as that. Ranked battles, well, this is actually a pretty interesting change. It's actually something that may actually motivate myself to actually go and play this here, because for a long time I just didn't care. They've gotten rid of the stage thing. There's no stages, like individual stages for each one. It's just 21 days, go ahead, pretty much. There's no like breakup of the stages, like having like 3 stages where you can only play during the week or something like that there. They've gotten rid of that there, so that's nice. So it's just a 21-day period, there's 15 ranks. And because it's actually run for a longer period of time, I think it may actually be more difficult to rank up. However, something that's really good about this is they have added in ranks which will like keep you at that rank. So if you achieve this rank, you will be maintained at that rank even if you do badly in a few games. So that was one of the main things that always put me off this mode, because you could work your ass off to get up to a certain point, and then you could just like fall off if you can just fall off the ladder completely if you have a few bad games. So yeah. Okay, so we're back with the vehicle rebalances coming up in patch 9.22. So I had to try kind of like cut it because I realized I rambled for about 8 minutes, and yeah, I want to try and make it a little bit shorter than that, especially when I'm just talking about this one section in particular. So yeah, basically to summarize, the tier 8 Russian medium tanks got a massive engine power boost from, well, 520 in the case of these two, or 680 in the case of this, up to 760, I was about to say 680, but that's the old engine power of this thing. But yeah, just to give you an idea of how much of a change this is, the Lova got a 200 horsepower buff whenever it became good. And that thing weighs 90 tons. This thing weighs like 30 or 40, and it's getting a 240 horsepower engine power boost. This thing's going to change from being kind of sluggish to being a go-kart overnight. This thing is going to change massively. So that's going to be an interesting vehicle to see how it plays out in the near future, because they may need to do something about it in the future, because they may have accidentally advertently made it a little bit overpowered. But yeah, we'll see in the future. Then when it comes to these details here, these two changes here, as far as I've seen, are pretty much insignificant. They basically made a weakness on the Object 705 a little tiny bit smaller, and the Object 705A, I literally could not find a difference. Object 268 version 4 got the heavy spall liner switched for a super heavy spall liner. What that basically does is change the mitigation for high explosive damage from 30% to 50%. So super heavy spall liner significantly more effective, but both of them have the same 10% stun duration reduction. Object 257 side armor boost, I don't know exactly what this is. I have heard some people said they've increased the or they've removed the overmatch zone on the side. If that's the case, that's a bad thing, because this thing could be a bit of a plague next patch. So this is like the main thing I'm worried about. If they've removed that overmatch zone, then this thing is going to be an absolute plague on the matchmaker for a couple patches, if not more. So yeah, kind of worried about this, but I'm going to try and keep positive about it and try and like not worry too much about. So last thing to go over here is these changes here. So the SCM50T has been removed from the in-game tech tree. In my opinion, it really doesn't matter, because there's a good reason you don't see many FCM50Ts around. It hasn't held up as time has passed. It's just not that good of a vehicle anymore. As for the vehicles being added into the store, it's bizarre the EHAC Tiger 8's getting put back. I don't really think there was any demand for that tank to get put back into the in-game store. Punch 58 Moots, well, let's just say that thing was once the best tier 8 premium tank in the game. And times have changed significantly for that tank. It has gone from being the best, indisputably, to being probably one of the worst, if I'm honest. Then we get the M46 Patent KR. Pretty good vehicle. I like it a lot. I'm very biased in favor of that vehicle, so of course I would say I like it. But yeah, your opinions may differ. M56 Scorpion, I wouldn't recommend it. It has 1mm of armor, and artillery is pretty common at the moment in mortar tanks, so I really would not recommend that vehicle, because I would just be afraid of just getting nuked continuously by playing that vehicle. So yeah. SC4 Experimental, that tank is basically an SC1 Sentinel, so it has no engine power. It has the only difference between the tier 4 and tier 6 is the gun changes from, I think, like a 2-pounder to a 17-pounder. So yeah. And then there's the MX M449. I'm not really sure if that speaks to if that vehicle's been power crept or not, or if that was just to replace the FCM50T. But it's interesting that the MX M449 is the one being added to the tech tree, not the T26E5, because I think the T26E5 honestly came out first, but the M449's been put into the tech tree before it. So I wonder how well the M449 has held up over time, because when it first came out, it was incredibly good. Is it still good? Let me know in the comment section if you have one. Like, is it still a really powerful vehicle? Because I have gotten a new vehicle lately, which you will see in the next few days, which I really enjoy, which is kind of comparable to that vehicle. Hopefully that doesn't spoil it, but yeah. So I'm kind of curious to know whether or not that tank is good, and the reason for that is because of this. So this is on the RU server, but if this came to the EU server tomorrow, I would probably change one of my like tier 7s or tier 8s to get one of these things here, because I just think it's a good and interesting vehicle, so could be interesting to play. Also, the Poodle is listed here as a vehicle that you can purchase, which is interesting because I don't think that tank is actually in the tech tree at the moment, so maybe they added that, or maybe that's just a Russian server thing, so not sure about that. And if you want to see a list of like the trade-in stuff in water tanks, like the actual like trade-in value of your vehicles, stuff like that there, then you can see this article on the Armored Patrol, which I will link in the description, so you can see what your tank would be valued at if you were to trade it in. So you can trade from tier 6 to tier 8, but you can't trade it at tier 8 back to tier 6. So yeah, basically what that means, if you had an STRVS1 and you wanted to get, say, I can't even think of a tier 6 premium. Hang on, what's the tier 6 premium? Had a bit of a brain fart. SU100Y. So if you had an STRVS1 and you wanted to trade and get an SU100Y, you can't do that. But if you have an SU100Y and you want to trade to an STRVS1, you can do that. That's fine. So yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything in regards to this here. So let's go on to the final thing, and that is this. So I reread this article. So point 2 on this, it says, if the vehicle is purchased and is in the garage, this is talking about the T10 by the way, when update 9.22 is released, the 257 is added to the account with the equivalent modules from the T10. So essentially, if you have an deleted T10 sitting in your garage, you will get an deleted Object 257 put into your garage. As far as I understand it, that sounds like you're getting a free tier 9 heavy tank. So I've went out and got myself a T10 because, well, I want the credits pretty much, because I was going to rebuy a T10 anyway. I'm basically getting 1.6 million credits for free by getting the Object 257 early. So yeah. So you might want to try and do that yourself if you want to. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I really need to go over. I'm mainly just happy they're trying to diversify the game a bit, because you have to admit, Tier 10 has gotten kind of out of control in regards to the Object 140 and IS-7 spam. Seriously, the amount of those tanks I've been seeing lately has been ridiculous. Like, I've been seeing, like, out of the 30 tanks in each game, I would say almost guaranteed about 8 of them are either Object 140s or IS-7s. So you could have like 5 IS-7s and 3 140s in a game. That's the equivalent of 8, and vice versa. Whatever distribution you want. But yeah, they've gotten kind of ridiculous and gotten kind of out of control. So I'm really glad the 430U and the 705A haven't been into the game. So just trying to like break up the monotonous constant IS-7s and 140s, because they get really annoying to fight after a while. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this patch in the comment section below, and let me know, are you hyped for patch 1.0 coming out in I think March or April time. So yeah, HD maps are on the way and they're coming very, very soon. So leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.